My skin is black.
What you looking
My
at?
skin
Yeah,
is black.
I feel so good to be black right now.
Here we go. I guess this is almost like season 4. So, welcome to episode 51 of the BlackNFashion podcast. I cannot believe I am at episode 51. But I know I'm in a can't stop, won't stop type of atmosphere. I appreciate everyone that has been tuning in to the podcast. I just want to take a second and acknowledge all of my sponsors. I want to acknowledge The Rich Nurse, Nisha Star Aesthetics, and Wear Lapels. All three of these are Black-owned businesses. Wear Lapels is actually an accessory brand for men and women. You can take an additional 80% off using code BlackNFashion. You can also check into Rich Nurse. There have your nurses essentials, and as well as Nisha Star Aesthetics. She promotes self-care through spa and therapy. So make sure you check out her website as well. Everything will be in the show notes. So today I am joined by Maryam Sherif. I love that, Moi. I feel like I say that very essential. Say hi, Maryam.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited.
Me too. So, Maryam Sherif is a brand strategist with brand. I cannot say the word strategist to save my life.
It's strategist.
Strategist, right. I always say strategist, and I always get corrected. Strategist with 13 years of substantial communications, public relations, project management, and image develop experience. She has a unique combination of technical and marketing skills that have resulted in launches that have increased revenue and brand value for award-winning clients in various industries. Persuasive, seasoned professional experience in all aspects of developing and managing multiple teams and campaigns. Maryam's extensive experience derives from orbiting across the fields of fashion, beauty, technology, finance, sports, leisure, lifestyle, travel, and entertainment industries. She has collaborated with several million-dollar brands to develop strategies, campaigns, productions, TV casting, amongst others. That is quite the resume.
Thank you.
I love it.
I've been orbiting this world of entertainment and fashion for since I left college, and even prior to that, really.
Amazing. So I like to just start like a little icebreaker. It's called this or that, and you just tell me like which one like you prefer over the other. Okay.
Ooh, I am a fan of icebreakers. Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So mules or wedges?
Mules.
Side boob or under boob?
Under.
One shoulder or completely off the shoulders?
Completely off.
Motorcycles or trenches?
Motorcycle.
Flare leg or fitted leg?
Fitted.
Yes, love. Okay. All right. So our first segment is somebody in the media this week that you just like felt slayed. I know it's hard to slay during this quarantine, but was there anyone that you saw, celebrity or non-celebrity, reality star, that you was just like, okay, this branding is on point?
One of my clients actually that I really work with and love that she's not letting this quarantine life really stop her hustle. I work with Hanifa Official, and she's been working with like digital 3D models now for, since we can't really use real models. Okay. She's been using 3D models to sell her stuff online, and it looks amazing, and it's very innovative. And I think that's like awesome that she's really honing on that skill and really taking fashion and tech to a new level, especially as a Black designer. So I really, really love that. And looking forward to seeing more of those. It's really amazing.
Gotcha. I actually did see that because I went on her website because I saw a top that I really, really wanted. And I was looking at the models. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. At first, it took me a little step back. I'm like, oh, my God, these are virtual models. This is so cool. Yeah. And I feel like I just saw it like 2 days ago. I was like, oh, okay. Yes, girl, you better utilize that technology.
You got to utilize it, and I think that's going to be a big wave moving forward. So I'm kind of excited that she's like one of the first few people that started this.
Absolutely. So let's start by can you tell us a little bit about like your background, where you grew up, and like where you're from?
Yeah. So I'm actually 100% African. My family
Hello?
Like Morocco, then my father's side, they're more from West Africa. So we're like Arabs and blacks as well. So the whole like mixing. But I grew up in a very cultural environment, so I'm very family oriented. I grew up around Philadelphia. So both sides of me, I think you could pretty much put me in any room and I can talk to anybody. It's just a very diverse area that I grew up in, very cultural and just very friendly. Also hard and rough, of course, from the Philadelphia area. But I think I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else because I can fit anywhere, really. I always say that.
Nice. Love that. What was like the fuel, the inspiration and motivation behind pursuing like, fashion? I ain't just say fashion, just marketing as a whole, marketing and brand strategy.
I think because of growing up, I always felt like, well, people told me I had to choose because I was big in beauty and I was big in fashion. Like I went to cosmetology school while I was in high school. My high school was a Votech. And then I was just trying to figure out, like, okay, I want to go to college, but I just finished, like, cosmetology. So do I just go work at a salon and, like, build myself up to be, like, a celebrity hairstylist, makeup artist, whatever, because I was involved in all of that. But then I'm like, no, I want to go to school and learn fashion. So when I decided to go to Howard University, I learned they had, like, fashion merchandising, which was not design because I knew I could not sew for anything. But I wanted to learn the business side of it. And I was so excited when I knew about fashion merchandising at that time. It was like still fairly new. It wasn't a big program. So I really enjoyed learning that you can do the business side of whatever industry that you want to do because they didn't really promote that. It was either like you are a hands-on worker or like the behind the scenes people never really got the praise or I didn't really know too much about that side. So that's why I always wanted to learn more about the business side of any industry. So fashion, beauty, entertainment, just the people in the back. Like I'm the one that looks at the catalogs or any magazine and I want to look at the credits to see, who was the stylist? Who was the makeup artist? Who was the set designer? Who were the photographers? Like I'm always looking at people like that.
Gotcha. Love that. The behind the scenes people are always so underrated.
So underrated. And they actually do good and they get paid too. So it's just like, I wish kids in other schools, like, they really talk more about those type of jobs that are available for you. I know now they do, though. Like, the whole creative world is really booming.
Yeah. I feel like I've swayed a lot of different fashion designers to pursue product development and production management degrees when they're going to school and stuff because, we can be a fashion designer, but there's so many technical design jobs in product development and production where, of course, you could be a designer. That's a given. But to get, like, in the industry and get a really good paying job, product development and production is definitely the way to go. And we're on the back end, you know?
Yep. And it's so needed, yeah.
Let's discuss like your love, like for like being behind the scenes, and how you started to pursue your entrepreneurship journey.
I actually worked in corporate since I graduated. I wanted to be a buyer. That was my whole point of going to school. I wanted to be a fashion buyer, travel to Milan, and just like live this fabulous life of Deborah Wears Prada. But it was not that. It was not that. Being a buyer, you are literally at your desk 24 hours a day. You're buying into numbers. It's more so technical. It's not the merchandising side that I thought it was going to be. So, and it's like a whole 25 steps before you even become a physical, like, mainstream buyer. So it's the whole like career path that you have to go down. So starting off as like an allocator and working your way up to assistant buyer, and then like 10 years later you're finally a buyer. So you look, a lot of buyers actually a lot older, more mature in age because of the longevity that you have to go down before you actually become that role. So I realized that I'm very impatient, and I was like, 11 years. I can't do this for 11 years. So I went back into beauty. I was like, okay, well, can I use my skills that I've learned from like the whole buying world in the beauty world? And then, of course, I didn't know there were other jobs and other career paths that I can go down. So I joined a company that was like fairly new. This was when hair extensions it just came out, like the really expensive, like $300 bundles, and you needed like six packs to like do your hair. So working with a lot of celebrity clientele, that's when I started getting into like the whole campaigning and branding, because we were working with a lot of prominent movies and celebrities. We were doing fashion campaigns and different things like that, but we were the hair providers for these women. So that's when I really fell in love with the behind the scenes and campaigning and everything that has to do with the glam world, but on a higher, more luxe realm. So that's when I made friends and started connecting with different types of celebrities and their stylists, their hairstylists. And I got into like the hairstylist world, the celebrity hairstylist world. And that's how I wrote They Were the Plugs. They're the ones who
they are the plugs.
You really get, like, if you want to get something on your client because they trust them and they love them, you know, they're the closest to them with their makeup artist. So that's when I really fell in love with like the whole glam team. And I connected with like my first, which was like Tokyo Style. Started working with him. I did his hands-on tour. And so it was a lot of things, like I just like went down this road, like this path that I was going down. And everything just kind of started making sense to me. So I was figuring out on the way, like I didn't know, but things were just aligning. And a lot of my skills came from, of course, school and then working in corporate and all the things I learned from my first jobs.
Nice. So what would you say was the biggest struggle when you started out in your entrepreneurship?
I would say I didn't have like the stability of like my corporate pay and my corporate health insurance. And like, you know, every 2 weeks I just knew my account was going to be looking great, you know? So just that stability that I did not have anymore was hard for me to adjust with because I was so used to just like, oh, I spend it now, I'll get it next week. Mm-hmm. But no, I had to learn how to budget. I had to learn accounting. I had to get my own health insurance. I had to create a business. That was like something I was like, oh, I need to like have a name. I need an LLC and, you know, things like that. So I was just working, just saying, oh, I'll just use my, you know, my tax return for this, but even that tax returns. So just had to get structured and really establish a business and establish myself as a professional, create a website and have my business cards and things that were handed to me because I was in corporate. Mm-hmm. But now being on my own, I was like, oh, shoot, I have to do this. Nobody's going to hand it. There's no marketing department, you know, Gotcha. I'm my marketing department.
Did you find it hard to, I guess, once you got at a certain space where you feel like you needed help with like accounting and help with like maybe like business stuff, did you find it hard to like trust people to like be able to take on like your that workload for you?
I think the biggest thing and the biggest advice that I received from mentors were you have to learn it yourself first, so nobody can ever like trick you or fool you into thinking that this is what it is when you know it's not. Right. So my biggest thing was I learned myself. I learned just on a basic, I was already good with Excel, so basic spreadsheets for my numbers. And for things that I didn't know, Google was a big like educator for me. I learned a lot on there. I read a lot. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I listened to just whoever I felt was doing it right already without me having to pay. If they put out any type of information, I would just like study and try to learn on my own. It wasn't until I just felt like I needed the help. Like I couldn't do it on my own anymore. I would tell people like, they'd be like, oh, I need to hire you as a manager, this and that. And I'm like, if you can still handle your own like workload, if you can still handle everything on your own, then you don't need to like outsource. Just keep doing it until you are literally like, damn, I can't handle this anymore. There's so much work coming in. There's so much money that I have to put onto my spreadsheet every month. Like then right. You can hire.
Makes sense.
But at least you already know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like that is something that I get often, like from like my clients and stuff, and they were just like, you know, I feel like that the whole just managing everything on your own, I think is just hard within itself, and it's like at the same time you're learning and you're trying to manage everything. It's just I think it's like a big struggle, especially for people who are more so like in the creative field and they're not looking for like not even looking for it, but don't know how to do that stuff at all. Probably they have never looked at a sale a day in their life, and then like trying to figure that out, plus to bring in the market. I know it can, can be like overwhelming, but you got to keep on pushing for it.
You do. And then find cheaper alternatives. There's other there's different websites and different apps that can help you manage those type of things. You don't have to like fully go hire like an accountant. Right. I just always try to look for like the most cost efficient way to do things before I leap into a more like monthly type of situation.
Gotcha. When you first started out, as a new fashion business, how crucial would you say it is as to create a branding strategy? Like, would you say that should start like in the product development, like when they're starting phase, or do you think they can wait until they actually have something? Like, what do you feel is like the most crucial portion for starting that branding strategy?
I think that should be an initial thought in the beginning of like let's say you're wanting to create a business. So pretty much your business is your company. It's the organization that's going to produce the product or service that you want to sell.
Right.
Your brand is going to be your image, your identity, what it is that you want to project to your consumers and how your business is perceived out there in the world. So all of that comes in hand to hand. And then how you market it is probably like the last step. And that's going to be how you put it out there, how you advertise. So those are your campaigns and stuff. So everything goes hand in hand. So I would say that when you say I'm about to create a business, I'm about to start any type of project or service, those are thoughts that are aligned. Like you can't really miss those steps.
Gotcha. So let's discuss like digital marketing, social media, and like why it's important to understand every aspect of the brand as it grows to reach their target consumers.
Yeah. So social media is big right now, especially right now as we're going to talk about like quarantine and what's going on. Is that all eyes on brands. So this is not the time for brands to be like, oh, I can't do anything. Like I used the Hanifa example, which I thought was just brilliant. This is actually the best time to really be promoting yourself. Like ads are actually doing major numbers right now because people have they have time on their hands. So they're actually going to click. Like if I see an interesting ad, and I know people can't create content right now, but you have older content that you can, maybe just spruce up a little, or if it's older, maybe they haven't seen it before. Now you can use that for an ad. You might have had it on your website or you might have had it on your IG page, but now you can use it for an ad on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like everything. So revamping old stuff that you have, like utilize it right now. An example for like I always use is like Apple versus Dell. Dell did not keep up with the times. Like I remember growing up, Dell was like the leader in personal computers. Like everybody had a Dell. Right. And then Apple came and just like swoop because Dell they were so comfortable. Like if we were using quarantine time right now, they would be the company that's like, oh, we'll wait. While Apple's the company's like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep thinking of innovative ways, like to keep motivating my consumers. So and now Apple's the number one, like, everything, phone, everything. Not even, it's like everything because they kept being innovative and they were consistent with branding. Gotcha. So you don't have to worry about like new content. Just put out content. That makes sense, of course. Don't just put out anything.
Right. So I guess that's like the way that you would create brand loyalty is constantly feeding like more so the need of your customer, not necessarily the want. Like just put it in there like this is something that you need to have.
Yeah. And you're actually like keeping your brand presence. Like I said, the branding part is the way you want to be perceived. So whatever message it is that you created around your business, I'll use some examples like Tide. Everybody like thinks spring fresh. Like they always talk about freshness when you hear Tide. When you hear Charmin, you think soft, like soft rolls and paper toilet tissues. When you hear Duracell, you think of like strong battery, keep going. Like so, they've created those brand awareness around their names. So when you have a flower company, you want to think Blossom or whatever it is that you're going to create it with. Like you keep that message going. So the consistency of that message, like how many times have you seen a Duracell battery and it's the bunny hitting the thing? Like I can picture that in my head. So they were consistent with that same message for years and years and years. So that's your branding right there. Right. But their business was actually Procter & Gamble. So it's like the company that actually owns all these things. They were just behind the scenes. Nobody really knows them as well, but they know their brands. They know Tide, they know Charmin, they know Duracell. They know all of them, but they don't really know like Procter & Gamble.
Right, because I don't even know who that is. You just taught me something.
Yeah, that's the company that owns like all of those essentials. Nice. So there are companies that do it well that are like behind the scenes, like a Procter, a P&G. If you look at the labels of a lot of your things, you'll see P&G. But there are brands who are very successful at being a business and a brand. And those are like the Apples, the McDonald's, the Nikes. Nike has other things, even Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has other brands under the Coca-Cola house. But everybody knows Coca-Cola because they were both successful at doing both. But their campaign message has always been the same.
Gotcha. Would you say that, like, as you were discussing, like, those promotional ads for Instagram and Facebook, do you think it's more beneficial to allow Instagram and Facebook to trigger those ads automatically? Because you know how you can go in and say, like, create your own where it targets a certain consumer, what they're like, what their interests are. Would you say it's more beneficial for a business owner to let it be automatic, or for them to actually create, like, the demographic themselves of who they feel their target consumer is?
Yeah, I would always say it's better to create and target your audience, but you should know the type of audience that you're wanting to target. And this could change up like during the course of your business. Mm-hmm. Let's say I've already had, I'm a brand who's a streetwear brand, and I've already had like the hood on lock, but I want like to cross over into more of mainstream media. So I would start targeting those types of like crossover influencers or neighborhoods that, okay, so I might live in Philadelphia, but I'm going to target like the suburbs of Philadelphia now. So I'm going to, reach out a little bit further, but still close to my area code. Gotcha. So things like that. So I would definitely target who you want your audience to look like, but also be realistic about it and just know that these people would be interested.
Gotcha.
So, and if you're like a brand that's selling a specific service, so if you are an accountant, like I'm going to hit up areas that have a lot of businesses. Like look at zip codes. I'm always online, just like searching different things like richest neighborhood or neighborhood with the most African American millionaires, or like I'm always searching just like keywords to hone in on specific areas, neighborhoods with the most moms. Like I don't know, like
you're
things.
Very specific. You got to get in there and like really get super duper detail with it.
Yeah, you really do. And you find like they have all that information. That's why I said Google's always been a really good teacher for me, because you can find anything you're looking for. And if you can't find it online, like it probably doesn't exist.
Gotcha. Can you talk a little bit about like some of the services like that you offer to a brand, and like what stage they should like kind of contact you and reach out to you to start working with you and the services that you have?
Yeah, I'm also in the back end. I do more of the brand packaging, the whole branding identity, and what it is that they're putting out there to their consumers. So I work with brands on campaign shoots. I do a lot of visual content. I do just the back end packaging of your business, like your media kit, your press releases. I'm not really PR related, but I do work with a lot of publicists. Publicists love working with me because I make their job easier because I'm handing them everything. So it's like, here you go, I made them pretty, here you go.
Boom. All the work's done.
All the work's done. You just have to put it out there. I do a lot of content writing for different things. I'm the one that's pretty much just like what you see, like if you see a brand's Instagram, like what it is that they're posting, what it is that they're going to use for their ads, what it is their website looks like. I'm usually the one responsible for that creation, the idea, the storytelling, what it is that like I'm looking at a box of Tic Tacs, like it's orange. So like I would be the one who said, let's make this orange, and then let's come up with some dope visuals for this, and then let's put out a marketing plan for it, and then let's send it out to some influencers. Let's create the packages. I'm the one that's coming up with all of that. And then I'm like, okay, I put it all together. Now let's get a publicist to really talk about what it is that we just did.
You're like a creative director too.
Yeah, anything that has to do with that. But I normally work with businesses who have already I have my business. Now I need my branding.
Gotcha. I think that's kind of like even how we even created this collection, because like me working like with Lily, and Lily like is connected to you, and that was like kind of the space that I was when it comes to like my businesses. Like, okay, what else I got to do next? Like I got to figure this out, and I didn't even think about it. Like she came to me and she was just like, this is what I could do for you, and I was just like, oh, that's a great idea. Yep. Like, let's do that. So I'm so happy and so blessed. And then she told me that she was working with you, and she told me about you. And I'm like, oh, come on, Black Girl Magic. Like, I just love every piece of it.
Yes, we have so much in the works that we're trying to do. We want to do a lot more stuff like overseas, especially in like the African market, because us both being from Africa, we know the potential, and we actually met over there, like in Morocco. So it's like we see that it has so much growth. There's so many over there. What's so exciting and different is the gender roles. Like men are actually the tailors over there. So when I was there for a month, all the things that I purchased were from men who were creating all the garments, and I thought that was so cool. So it's just in the fabrics, like everything is just a rich area of so much resource that people haven't really tapped into yet, and really want to just see what else can be done over there.
Amazing. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about like women in fashion marketing. Well, I guess Black women specifically in fashion marketing and branding. Do you find that there are a lot of Black women in your role, or like in your role and in your field, or do you feel like there's definitely a need for more there?
It's funny because when I first started, I didn't really know what this was. I didn't even know what title to give myself. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly. I was just working. So I just knew business, and I knew marketing, and I just loved the whole advertising world. Like, honestly, if I could go back to school, I would have went back for advertising and worked at like an advertising firm or something. Nice. So I honestly feel like now I do see a lot more people who are coming online and saying they are like brand strategists or brand, but I felt like it was kind of a facade as well, because my question to a lot of people when they even hit me up or hit my client up or asking, I'm like, so what have you done to like say that you can do that for another business? How is your business? So a lot of people wouldn't have that like answer for me. So then I'm just like, okay, then maybe you should come on as like a junior, or like, like don't try to help another person's business or take their money, or, try to do that if you haven't really established it for yourself or for other people. Like, you don't have those case studies, you don't have those results, so I definitely think it's still needed, but it should be needed. It's needed in a more real way.
Gotcha. Definitely need to push that. Yeah, you hear that at first, guys. You need to pursue careers in fashion branding, fashion marketing, fashion advertising. There's definitely a need for Black women in that space for sure. We have lots of designers, but there needs to be more people on the back end to kind of like push that agenda forward.
Yeah. You can definitely have the want for it and like the drive for it. I hire people more so on passion and drive than I do on skill set. But skill set is actually more needed if somebody's trusting you with their money. Like, I wouldn't hire a photographer that's never shot before. I wouldn't, like, he can be passionate about it, but he's not going to be my main photographer. He's going to be somebody on the team assisting. So maybe if you're somebody who has no prior experience in it, don't come in saying you're like the leader or you own an agency. Just say you're like help, like, just.
I want to be a part of a growing team. Like, I want to grow and I want to learn as well.
And I want to learn. Yeah, so that way next year you have more of a caliber to really pursue what it is that you want to do. I think a lot of people skip the steps. Like, I'm saying 13, 14, 15 years I've been doing this, and I was always the worker. I assisted a lot of people. And even till this day, if I see somebody shooting a major campaign and I'm like, I want to learn, I'm going to assist on set.
Right.
So I always humble myself, and I work a lot of television campaigns and stuff, but I actually don't put those out, but because I'm not the one that's like doing it, I'm just assisting, but I'm learning.
But you never stop learning. Like, there's always room for like growth and learning and educating yourself more and more. And especially as times change, as new technology comes into place, you're constantly growing and learning. And even in your business, like, it never stops. I feel like I have to tip you. Yeah, I've gotten quite a few questions. It's like, oh, how do you create like the perfect like branding strategy, and when do you know that it's right? And I'm just like, I don't know, like, it might be right for that time, and I'm like, and I'm not a branding expert, I don't know anything about branding, so you first of all, you're barking up the wrong tree, because I don't know anything about it, so I'll continue somewhere else. But then I had like questions. This is all like in one live stream that I did. They asked me questions about when did I become proficient in, sewing and pattern making. And I'm just like, I'm still not proficient. Like, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good at it. But I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I'm always seeking out that education. And I find that in this industry, because it is, when I'm just in fashion, beauty, it's very psychological that people just want to put something out. They want to put it out now. And it's just like, take your time, keep educating, keep learning, like, really like ease into it. Because I just don't really feel like the fashion, the beauty industry is going anywhere. Like, it's always going to be here,
It's always going to, and it's recycling. Like, it's a ever revolving door. Like, I watch a lot of old content for inspiration. I'm a big fan of like 1950s, 60s, 70s movies. I look at that for a lot of creative inspiration when I'm trying to think of ideas for branding a product or branding a client or a service, I actually like will binge on like a lot of old commercials or old campaigns or things like that, because it recycles. Like, you don't always have to come up with the newest ideas. You can improve another. So you can just take inspiration from other things. But those are the days that you really sit and have to like hone into your ideas and really come up with some creative stuff.
Makes perfect sense. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges facing like the fashion industry right now when it comes to like branding?
I would say just that, like the diversity in it.
Yeah.
But there are brands that are really doing a great job. I actually love Miu Miu. Their campaigns, they have like a whole campaign called Women's Tales that I watch religiously, and they're like storytelling visuals. So I love brands that are just always taking it to the next step. Like Women's Tales are mini movies. They're like 1-minute movies, but it's about the clothes, but it's about the model. It's about the emotion. They create an experience for you to watch. So it makes you tone in to the clothing, like the way it moves, the way the girl cried and maybe a drop hit her silk. Like there's so much just distilling into it. Gucci does a good job with that as well. And they're bringing in like older designers like Dapper Dan and different things like that who have history in the brand. So I love that. I love collaborations. I think that's like a big thing. And I think I love when brands do that. Like Target does a great job with that. We're introducing designers on a smaller scale for everybody to consume.
I love
So things like that should keep going, and I think they will keep going, especially after this. There are going to be a lot more in-store activations, a lot of events. So like I said, do not think that this like epidemic is going to really stop that world. It's actually going to just make it more creative, or it's going to take us back to the days when we didn't have like the digital age. So like after this, I don't think a lot of people will want to be on their phones as much. They're going to want to be outside more. So brands are going to be doing a lot more activations. They're going to come back stronger than they were 4 years ago.
Got it. So I have one more segment. It's called It's a Success or It's a Disaster. And It's a Success, It's a Disaster segment is sponsored by Rich Nurse, which is a brand that empowers nurses to live life abundantly through fashion. They sell clothing, accessories, and beauty products for nurses. Presently, they're offering 15% off for all of their listeners using promo code BlackNFashion15. Check them out and send all your nurse friends their way at shoppingrichnurse.com. Also, check out Wear Lapels. They are offering 80% off their website through April 30th. Use code 80WOW in all caps. They have neckties, pocket squares, lapel pins, bracelets, jewelry, all of the above. Now, for It's a Look or It's a Disaster, tell me about a time you were with a client where it completely was a disaster, but you learned something special about it, and maybe it sparked something that you use in your career moving forward that turned into a success that was based off of a disaster.
What time? Let's see. When you're on set, it's very unpredictable. You can try to be as professional as possible yourself. I would say, let's use a recent one. I started working with like a concert series, and that was a whole new role for me. That's one thing about me too. I'm like, you're everywhere. I'm like, I know. But I started working with a concert series, and the first show that I ever did with them, I wasn't as tight in my, I guess, security or like the people who I invited around. So they ended up inviting somebody else. And of course, it's a concert, it's a celebrity, and it's a highly it's a big celebrity. So you can't just have people coming in at their back end. And we were responsible for like the dressing and just the whole experience for the celebrity that's coming in. So me inviting somebody who invited somebody else, it just became a security hazard. And that was my first time working. I was just like, oh my God. And I'm really hard on myself because I'm like, girl, right. Why did you invite that person? And then that person ended up inviting, it was just a mess. But the second show, thank God, no issues, none. I went above and beyond to make sure that it was literally just my team that I work with all the time. And then we had people meet us at the door, outside. We gave us stuff, handed it. We just were super tight with it. And the guys noticed that too. They was like, this is perfect. nobody had anything to say but great things.
Great. Come on, customer service. She's like, you know what? Let me just make sure I can do a complete 360, right?
Okay, I was like, oh hell no, this is not me, and you will not see this from me again. Like I'm somebody, I'm like, you just gotta tell me once.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm like, oh, yep, got it. My mother called those. A lot of times she called them bought lessons when you end up having to pay for it. She said, oh yeah, you bought that lesson. I bet you learned now. I bet you won't do it again.
I love that. You guys should make that a whole situation. That could
Right.
be a shirt.
Yeah, it's like bought lessons from Kelly. My mom's name is Kelly G. Kelly bought lessons. Mama quotes.
Yeah, I could definitely see that on shirts and stuff. See how my mind works. I'm like, oh, I can see that.
Yeah, see, I love that.
That's actually really a dope slogan. You should run with that.
Yeah, you know I'm a designer. You know I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna write it down right now.
I like that. You can put it on coats. I can see it a lot of places because it's like it's people are gonna make up their own wording around it. It's like you're creating something that can be so many other things. Like that could be so many other things.
And I got so many of those. My mother is a philosopher.
Oh, please.
I have so many of those. So
yeah,
I feel like you have
put them on your stuff. Like definitely a back of a coat. I could see that ball.
Yeah, and I make outerwear. So that I make purses. I can put them on the inside.
Yep.
That's what's up. Actually, thank you. Come on, see?
Yeah.
Come on. Now, I feel like you have so many achievements and like so many goals already accomplished. Where do you see yourself like in the next 5 years?
Right now, my focus is to really slow down. I'm always traveling. I'm always like, I feel like that's the part of my life that I kind of missed out on, like the kids and the family, because I was the girl that was like never around traveling. I'm always on set. I'm always running around. I just never gave myself the time to like really like, like the dating and all that stuff. I was married, but I feel like my job really came between my marriage because I was still so focused on that and building myself and still like I would be home for like a day and I'm like, oh, I'm out. I got to fly out tomorrow. So right now my whole game plan is to just really establish my agency, my team. So team building is my biggest thing right now, making sure that everybody who is working with me, working around me is as hungry as I am and as focused as I am and can take on and be there. Because my clients are very like, oh, if you're not coming, I don't want anybody else to come. But I'm like, no, I need you to understand that I can't be everywhere. So I just want my team to be as, strong as I've created what I want my role to be.
Oh, yes, for the training and development.
Yeah, so that's my biggest thing now, to train up a few mini Maryams running around and then with their own unique skills and abilities. And then that way I can just, be like, hey guys, let's get on the call. Let me know how that shoot went. Yeah.
Yeah, low balance. I find that, and I get that question often too. And I'm just like, they're like, how do you find the time? What do you do? I'm like, I have a ritual every morning. I don't start my day without my crystals, my meditation, my journaling, and just taking that time for myself, because you can get so wrapped up and consumed in your work. And I'm very like you in that sense, as far as like, I got goals. I want to do it. I want to do podcasting, and I want to put out information. I'm teaching. I'm consulting. I'm creating my own line.
I was about to say that, girl. You got a lot.
Yeah, I do a lot. I have a non-for-profit. I have a non-for-profit for Black. It's called the Black Girls Designer Club. So I'm trying to do fundraising. I'm doing grant writing. So I feel you in that sense of like being that multifaceted woman, and that's also what my clothing line is. It's for that woman. So just being able to find that balance. Like I do not start my day without my prayer, without my meditation, without holding my crystals, my mantras, my journaling. For me, it just sets my tone, and I wind down at the end of the night too, and just know how to, really get into utilizing that time management. And I wasn't always like that, but I felt like it was a need. Like you cannot be this consumed with your work. Like I get it, you gotta go, but try to find that balance in between. And I feel like I find something different to incorporate within that all the time, and being able to take a step back. And I watched that Netflix series called She Did That with all of those Black women entrepreneurs and all things they were doing. They said, learn the power of no. I'm like, that's right. No, I cannot do that. Like, no, I cannot. It's Sunday. Stop texting me.
It's my favorite word. Yeah. Sunday's actually my day off.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this.
Oh, no. I mean, I feel like I have every day off now. It's just like you're just chilling.
Good.
So my schedule's like I really just been working when I want to now. So it's more so a want situation. Right. But I now I'm really big on office hours. Before I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm up at 11 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, I'm up. I'm working. What do you want? So now I'm just like, yeah, let's touch base tomorrow. Like that's my biggest thing. Let's touch base tomorrow.
Love that.
Or Monday. It's Saturday. Unless it's like a dire need, if your business is like burning down to the ground. But if it's not, if it's something that could wait till Monday, just wait till Monday, please.
Absolutely.
Like I want to have my mind and my team's mind like crisp and always active, but we also are human and we have to rest as well.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Can you throw out like your social media so people know like where to find you and follow you? I'll also put it in the show notes, but I want you to kind of throw it out there as well.
Yes, make sure you guys follow me. I'm actually really funny. I love my stories, but follow my page. It's Moi Sherif, and it's Moi as in MOI, Sherif, S as in Sam, HERIF as in Frank.
Perfect. And this will also be in the show note, guys. Make sure to check her out and look at her work. And I really appreciate you joining me on this Sunday. And if you just have like a suggestion for like I have the thing called It's a Muse. So if there's any reading or articles or anything you think someone wants to check out, you could just throw it out there as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm an Audible girl, so I'm forever just listening and multitasking.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much. Is there any readings that you suggest or articles that you suggest that anyone take a look at maybe right now?
Yeah, I think you guys should. Be Like Amazon is the latest book that I listened to on Audible. It definitely tones in on marketing and business and branding. And it's just Amazon's like, of course, the number one company. So I always strive to look at companies who are just killing it. So it's called Be Like Amazon.
Be Like
It's a great
Amazon.
Audible. I really love the narrators. Their voice is entertaining. So you can listen to that brushing your teeth. Like I just put it on and just do whatever. But you really do listen.
Love.
And it's a quick listen. It's like an hour and a half or two.
Be Like Amazon, guys. I'll put that in the show notes too. All right. Thank you so much, Maryam. You have a wonderful Sunday, and I will be in touch soon. I'll definitely send over the podcast when it's all ready and complete, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, have a great day.
You too. Bye.